You maybe try your first ever Vegemite on toast. 3.
It wasn't horrible.
Wasn't horrible.
No.
Brock Johnson. He is known as the Instagram growth guy, the #1 Instagram coach. What's your say it with your chest to start this incredible episode for yourself?
There's this big debate on social media about quality versus quantity and what one matters more.
Good stuff.
And I am a very huge proponent of quantity. And when I say that, people get really mad. They believe that what I'm saying is post anything, post random things, post bad things, post intentionally mediocre things because you just want to post them because you're all about quantity. I'm a huge fan of quality. And I agree with all of those statements about quality, that quality is king and quality content is what leads to results. But then I just follow that up by saying, how do you get high quality? How do you reach a level of high quality? And the answer is high quantity.
Hello everyone, exciting announcement with the rebrand of Say It With Your Chest, the official new podcast that we have brought together to really step into this huge bit of our business right now where we're really working and interviewing leaders and professionals who are just really bold with what they say. They're bold with everything that they do. They say it with their chest with conviction and they're here to play big. They have huge impact already. They're speaking on multiple stages. They have mastered the skill when it comes to speaking and they've mastered the skill that they teach and also practice within themselves. So this is why we've decided to make this huge shift in our business for the rebrand because, again, it's a huge part of our message. It's a huge part of what we do. It's a huge part of, why this now gets to be an opportunity for anyone that comes into this incredible podcast or even the solo episodes. They're solo chest moments. It's whether you have a controversial message, whether you have something that you really want to bring out to the world. It could even just be that right now you're really growing in this expandable global place and we really want to get the big type of people, the leaders right now that are making moves in the world. So this is a really great, exciting announcement and you guys have been on the path with me since Keys to the Queendom, so I appreciate that, but we're now cleaning the slate and this is a whole new level of growth. And this podcast is bringing forward a really exciting new guest speaker, international guest speaker, and that is Brock Johnson. He is known as the Instagram growth guy, the #1 Instagram coach, and he's here to bring his story, his say it with his chest moment, what's really moving the needle for himself and what he does in the space of how he's creating so much impact in what he does. His mission to help entrepreneurs grow their accounts on Instagram. I'm here to bring forward some of the biggest misconceptions, the truths, what's on his mind right now that he wants to get off his chest, but most importantly, his knowledge and expertise when it comes to growing your Instagram. Now, I'm so excited to have here Brock Johnson. It is an absolute pleasure to have you. Welcome to Australia.
Thank you. So excited to be here.
And how are you finding it? First time you have been down under?
Yeah, I love it. Like, been taking the public transit everywhere, taking trains everywhere, and just walking around the city and trying to soak it all up.
Yeah.
Getting up at 7 in the morning and just leaving the hotel and walking. I love it. It's so great.
Do you find it overwhelming when you come to another country? Because I have been to the US and I'm like, where do I go? I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
But you were like, no, public places.
A little bit. I think I went to Japan earlier this year, and for that trip, I planned every day of the itinerary. And then somewhere in the planning, I saw a TikTok video that said, one of the biggest mistakes people can make is planning every second. Like, just let yourself kind of explore. And so that's very much how I've been approaching this trip is I have a list of recommendations. And so if I, am in a certain area and I need coffee, I can look for good recommended coffee shops in that area.
Smart.
But I've been trying not to plan out every hour of my day and just kind of allow myself to walk around and find things and just be a curious human.
And it's a short trip, am I right?
Super short. Yeah. Yes.
Well, look, I wanted to do the honour seeing as you are first time here in Australia.
Yes.
And I thought it would be great for the listeners and guests to watch you maybe try your first ever Vegemite on toast. It's like an absolute tradition in the Australian culture. You've never tried it, right?
Never tried it. Heard about it for sure. Never tried.
Okay, so there's wrongs there's wrongs in doing it,
Okay.
and that's if you just have it by itself.
Okay.
But I'm going to be nice and give you the whole experience.
Okay.
So how you're meant to have it is you're going to have some of the butter with it,
Okay.
with some toast. So
Okay.
I've organised some toast for both of us. So I want to make sure that we do it right. So we're going to do it together.
Okay, great.
Actually, I'll pass it to you. But normally what I do,
Okay.
and for everyone watching, this is the way to do it. But I've already used some of the butter before. But you want to get most of the butter first before you get the Vegemite.
Okay.
Because if you put too much of the Vegemite, it tastes like absolute arse,
Okay.
if I'm honest.
Okay.
Sorry for the language.
Yeah, no.
But if you prefer having more butter, I would for your first time trying.
I don't think there's anyone who's anti-butter. I think butter is one of the greatest
You love butter?
inventions.
I was
So
going to
for
check
sure.
if you eat butter.
Oh, yeah, no, butter's great.
And so then, we haven't opened this, so this is, you get to take this home with you.
Oh, nice and fresh.
Nice and fresh. Okay, so I'm going to get about that much.
Okay. About a spoonful.
About a spoon, and I don't know if people can see, but I'm just going to do the best I can to kind of demonstrate this for Brock.
Okay.
But that's basically, you can probably add more than that. What do you reckon? Do you want to add a little bit more? Oh, no, I think you need that's probably good.
Okay.
That looks pretty good.
About a spoonful.
Yeah,
Okay.
so I'm going to watch you do it.
Okay,
And
yeah, you'll have to
pass
coach
that
me
through.
up.
I'm going to
Yeah.
coach you on it.
Great. Okay, got the butter.
And I'm going to pass.
Nice. Oh, I got it. We're all
It's a
good.
bit heavy.
That slid easily. All
And
right.
you're probably going to be trying a lot of Australian things, so I thought, why
Absolutely.
not get you to do this?
Yeah, the coffee's all been amazing so far. Everyone said definitely try all the coffee you can. And so I'm usually a 1 coffee a day kind of guy.
And I got you another one just
Since I've been here, I've been having like 3, 4 coffees. But I think that's part of the reason that the jet lag has not
You're like,
existed.
I don't feel anything.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
just
like,
buzzing.
Yeah, I can go all day. Well, yeah, you had 4 cups of coffee today.
It's different though in the US, right? With the coffee, it's just not as strong.
My wife and I are definitely coffee aficionados. We love a good cup of coffee. And we lived in Seattle for a little bit, which has a good coffee scene. So I love a good, strong cup of coffee, but I also try not to do a crazy amount when I'm back home. But here, I'll use up all the coffee
You're going to die how much caffeine I have. Now, as you're smearing
Yeah.
the Vegemite, Brock is doing so excellent. Just be completely honest with what you feel.
Yeah.
Oh, you've
I
put
will.
more than me, actually.
Did I?
Yeah.
I've been trying to spread it out. There's like some
You're
clumps in
doing
here that
so
are real
good.
dark. Those dark clumps are scaring me for sure. I'm trying
And
to spread them out a little bit.
And I didn't want to make the toast, we call it toasties, too dark or burnt. I
Sure.
just wanted it a little bit soft. But all right, we'll do it together.
Yeah, here we go.
Do a big bite.
Yeah,
On the count of 3.
sure.
Okay. 1, 2, 3. What do you think?
I don't love the aftertaste. It's not something that I would voluntarily put on anything. But it's also not something that I'm like gagging at. I definitely think if I just like had a spoonful, I would
Oh, you would
gag.
die.
Oh, for sure. But 1 bite is
Enough?
enough. It was Dave Portnoy does like the 1 bite of pizza for his pizza reviews. I think 1 bite was enough for that. But
I think it grows on you.
I could see that. It wasn't horrible.
Wasn't horrible.
No.
Okay, out of
Yeah.
10 for your first experience.
2.7.
Okay, I'm going to take that, but I'm glad that you got to try your Vegemite.
Thank you.
So
I
that's off
appreciate
the
it.
bucket
Yeah.
list for Australia. And coming back to this, and have as much water and coffee as possible. This is all about saying it with your chest, you and I,
Yeah.
and you've been so grateful saying that you're open book. What's your say it with your chest to start this incredible episode for yourself? Whatever you want to get off. What's
I
the
think-
first thing that comes to mind?
Yeah, what I want to get off my chest, what I want to say is that there's this big debate on social media about quality versus quantity and what one matters more.
Good start.
And I am a very huge proponent of quantity.
Yes.
Focusing on quantity. And when I say that, people get really mad because they believe that quality is king, and if you can't make quality content, you're never going to have success. And they believe that what I'm saying is post anything, post random things, post bad things, post intentionally mediocre things because you just want to post them because you're all about quantity. But that's something that's getting lost in translation, and that's not what I'm saying. What I often say is, I'm a huge fan of quality, and I agree with all of those statements about quality, that quality is king and quality content is what leads to results. But then I just follow that up by saying, how do you get high quality? How do you
Yeah,
reach
smart.
a level of high quality? And the answer is high quantity. To say it in a way that makes a lot more sense is practice makes progress, right? The more you show up, that quantity, those repetitions, that is what leads to improvement, and that is what ultimately will lead to quality more than taking another course, watching another YouTube video, learning more things and overthinking more things. Just start putting things out in the world, and then as you will learn as you go, and that will lead to greater improvements over time.
I have noticed, and I love that this is the first thing that is your say it with your chest moment. I've been on Instagram since 2014. Actually, no, I lied. 2011, but I say this quite often. My first post was me in Thailand with my bikini on, and I didn't know what I was doing. I was literally just posting that. And over time, I've obviously seen there's been so many shifts on Instagram, but the fact that one of my clients and a lot of people do ask, is it quantity or quality? Where can that go wrong when it comes to a beginner wanting to post obviously consistently, and quantity would be the thing that's going to allow them to grow? Like, what's the thing that's going to get them to have intentional content, purpose driven, that's going to allow them to grow organically, but also get the clients?
Yeah. I think what can go wrong is, number one, they're not learning post after post. So yes, they're focusing on quantity, they're staying consistent, but they're not actually using proven strategies. And I think that there's a difference between short-term hacks, things that might work this week or this month. It's a trend, it's popular, but it's not a long-term sustainable strategy. I think that there's a difference there. And so I think what people can get caught up in is, Brock, I'm staying consistent, I'm focusing on quantity, but they're not improving, right? There's a reason why professional athletes film their practice, right? And then they watch the film of their practice to not just practice every day, but to make sure that that practice is getting better day after day. And so I think an easy way to kind of simplify that is, with every post you make, just find one thing that you can improve upon.
I love that.
And it might be something that on the post before it wasn't great, and so my hook wasn't very strong, or I felt like I could have told this story in a more concise manner. Maybe you'll know that way you're going to improve. Or sometimes you might just pick a random thing. Hey, with this post, I'm going to work on writing a really good caption. With this post, I'm going to really improve my editing, and I'm going to experiment with a new editing style. But if you can just pick one small thing to improve with that practice, then it's going to lead to huge returns in the long run.
I love the progress is a big part of, obviously, growing on social media, especially Instagram, which is something I really love that you thought about and said, because I am a recovering perfectionist myself.
Me too.
Wonderful. And I think where I really believe a lot of people get stuck on is that they get content paralysis because there's so much out there. And this kind of leads me into, I guess, why you do what you do. Obviously, you're known as the Instagram growth guy, but there's obviously more to what you do. Yeah. And I'd love for the listeners to hear how that all began, because I know there's so much for us to hear.
Yeah. Really, ultimately, my thing is just I want to help as many people as possible. My whole life, I have not wanted to be an Instagram coach. I've had numerous other things that I wanted to be as a little kid.
Like what?
I wanted to be a professional football player. That was the main thing, playing the NFL. And so, but even in that, I wanted to help people. I wanted to play in the NFL because as a kid, I remember wanting to have a platform to help people. And so this is just the current iteration of what helping people looks like for me in this season. I got started in business as a way to help people. I was a freshman college student athlete, and I didn't have the time to work like a traditional job. And so I knew I had to become an entrepreneur and work for myself. And the job, or the business that I started my freshman year of college, was helping moms keep their teens safe on Snapchat. So it was like an online course. But again, it was just trying to help people, right?
Yeah.
It was like $20, and it was just a video course explaining here's how to use Snapchat and keep your kids safe. But it was really just, I have this need for myself to provide for myself financially. And there's this need in the market. And then the kind of third circle in this Venn diagram is I have a skill set that can help me solve that need, or can help those people out. So that's how that got started, and it's evolved into what it is today. But ultimately I want to help people. And right now I'm helping business owners and brands leverage this crazy, cool, powerful tool called social media that's free to use. And you can reach millions of people and grow your business and provide for your family. And so I just want to shout that from the rooftops and help more people take advantage of this opportunity while we have it.
I have to just also just emphasize the fact that you've always wanted to help people, and hearing that you wanted to become an NFL player. I have a very similar story around wanting to be on stage as a professional dancer actor. I was in the dancing space, ballerina, and that calling for me to help people, even though it was in different stages of my life, now speaking on stage and then here, I feel like that is where people go right, because they've always had this innate knowing that they wanted to help people. And then you've had that in you, and I think that becomes where the byproduct of what you get to sell and what you get to make money in becomes the biggest asset to you.
Yeah.
But then what is your biggest why behind all of that? Because I think a lot of people, when they are, showing up online, and there's millions of people right now wanting to build a business online, and there's probably this huge fear of like, I'm not going to make it. I'm not going to be able to do it. What was the why behind you doing it to bypass the challenges and mistakes and the hurdles? Because it wouldn't have not been easy from when you started.
For sure. And it wasn't easy. My original why was I just wanted to be able to provide for myself and my friends. I wanted to be able to kind of cut the financial umbilical cord, so to speak, and not rely on my parents for buying my groceries and paying for my food and, mommy and daddy's credit card. I wanted to provide for myself. I wanted that independence. That was the original why. And now that I'm married and my wife, thank you. Yeah. And my wife and I have, dogs and a bird and I just want to provide for my family.
Yeah.
Right. But for me, provide for my family isn't just put food like Vegemite on the table. It's not just like put a roof over our heads, but it's also provide us with the life that we want to live, which is a life that has a lot of freedom, a life that has a lot of flexibility, a life that my wife can say, hey, do you want to go for a hike this morning on a random Tuesday morning? And I don't have to call my boss and ask if that's okay. And I don't also have to, and this is a problem that a lot of entrepreneurs run into, they might not have to call their boss, but they are so tied to their work that the business cannot run without them. Like they have become the bottleneck of their business. And so I'm very happy and satisfied that we've built a life where I can go peace out on a Tuesday morning and go for a hike, and I don't have to worry about, the business isn't going to run right today.
Yeah.
I can fly to Australia and hang out with you and do all these fun things in Australia and not worry about my team back in the States because they're able to run things without me.
I love the fact that the bottleneck was obviously now that you can sort of look into that, because I think when you reach that certain level of growth, which you have, and I'm going to talk about some of the tips around that, it's not just about, I've got this huge following, I've got this massive money coming in. It's like, what's important for you now, right?
Yeah.
And the fact that you've been able to share that you can build a business, walk away and do whatever you want, but also like provide for your family. Do you feel like people get stuck in that 9-to-5 mentality that they have to be the prison of their business?
Yes.
How do you get out of that?
I think part of it is just listening to conversations like this where people tell you that it's okay to get out of that. I think part of it is unfollowing the people who, or at least muting the people who preach like the hustle culture. And I think that I'm a huge fan of working hard and I'm a huge fan of hustling in certain seasons of life.
Yeah. Annika said the same thing. This is really interesting.
Really interesting. I love her.
Yeah.
But hustle culture as a whole is something that I'm not a fan of. And by hustle culture, I just mean the people, it's usually like the bros who are, you got to stay up till 2 a.m. It's not just the 9 to 5, it's the 5 to 9. And you got to wake up early in the morning and get to work as soon as possible. And my question is like, why? Like, why are we doing all of this? Didn't the reason we became entrepreneurs in the first place was to create freedom and flexibility for ourselves and live life on our terms and have that security? And if that is, why are we then giving up all of that to just build a bigger business or to make more money, right? And so I think really focusing on your why is huge. And it's not always easy to do. There are definitely people who might have certain habits that might want to encourage them to work more. There are people who have certain like learned things or childhood traumas or just things that make you feel more valuable as a human being when you're working. But I think unlearning that, going to therapy, listening to conversations like this, having a really good partner, whether that's a friend, a family member, or a literal like romantic partner who can like hold you accountable.
Love that.
That's really helpful too, because there are times where I might be watching Netflix and it's a boring part of the show, and so I take out my phone and I just go back into work mode, and I'm not even thinking about it, but I'm answering an email or I'm doing something like that. And my wife might just look over and say like, "What are you doing?" and not accusatory or anything.
Just reminding
what are you up to? Yeah, and that little nudge is I'm like, oh, I was just doing this real quick, and then I recognize what I'm doing, and then I put it away and try to be more present in the moment.
I have to bring that up because my partner's working with me now in the company. He was a tradie, so he 3.5 years into our relationship, he went through a mental health scare, and he just said, I can't do full-time work anymore. So I was like, let's work within the company. We nearly broke up. More of the story is, we're now really seeing the importance of building a business together, but also building our relationship. And it's in those moments where it's like, I fall for this trap all the time, and it's because I love what I do so much and I love helping people. And the fact that your wife picks up on you on doing that. The reason I want to bring my partner up, he was at this probably an hour and a half ago doing his first live on Instagram.
Oh, awesome.
Because he does ads for our business.
Okay.
So he's sort of like, I'm really nervous. And he goes, fear of judgment. Fear of judgment was coming in. And I said, that's really interesting you bring that up, because I know for so many people and some of the things you talk about, it's, showing up, it's the imperfect action, it's progress over perfectionism. But when that fear of judgment comes up, all that self-doubt, like what are your tips, or what do you do, or what have you even recognized in yourself or your students that you're like, just fucking do it? Or it's like, no, let's recognize this. What can we do to move the needle?
Yeah, I mean, there's a few things. The first one is be scared and do it anyways.
Love that.
Like, accept that there's a fear, and that's awesome that your partner was able to like recognize that there was that fear and communicate that. But you can be scared and still do something, right? Like you can be scared and still take action. I heard a quote recently that if you're scared to jump in a cold like pool or a cold lake, whatever, waiting longer doesn't make the water any warmer.
Wow.
Right? And so like be scared, but do it anyways. But some people are so scared that they're like paralyzed. And so if that's you, I would say, one, get a great, again, partner, accountability partner, someone to kind of give you that nudge and tell you it's okay. Two, remind yourself of the times where in the past you tried something new, you tried something scary, and it was okay. You did something that you didn't want to do, and it actually wasn't really that bad. Because that like confirmation bias is a great way to fight back against the little voice that's telling you the opposite. And even if it's like keeping a list of notes in your phone or screenshots of like those positive moments, those positive comments, those helpful things that you can literally read and like go back to. So you're not just relying on your own memory, but you have it written down somewhere. I find that helpful. And then just considering like the fear of inaction, right? And not to get morbid or scary, but I saw a really great post recently that was like, no one has ever been laying on their deathbed and thought, I'm so glad I didn't take that chance. I'm so glad I wasn't cringe. I'm so glad that I stopped myself from doing those things because it would have embarrassed me, or who knows what people would have thought. Like no one gets to the end of their life and thinks that. Every person gets to the end of their life and either said, I'm glad I lived with no regrets, or they're like, oh, I regretted not taking that chance. I regretted not shooting that shot. I regretted not posting that thing. And so it's morbid, but we think death is very, very far away.
It's true.
Right? We think that it's, and for most people listening, I hope it is really far away. And maybe studies, averages would say it is really far away. But you never know.
Yeah.
Like you never know when it's just a breath away. I have a tattoo on my thigh that says just a breath away. And it's to remind me that
just keep going.
Death is just a breath away. It could be just a breath away. And so take that shot, post that thing, just roll the dice, because you never know when it might be your last chance to do so.
I love that so much. Does that feel like it ever comes up for you though? Like when you're scared, like does self-doubt stop you? No, because you're.
I think it's a skill set. I think when I was really early on, it did a lot. And I think when I was early on, even just like going live on Facebook or creating a video, like there was nerves and I was scared to do it.
You're known for that dance move. Wow.
Dancing, like, but like you just try it. You just do it anyways. And then over time, it gets a lot easier, because then you don't have to keep a list of notes in your phone of all the times it went right. You're just like, well, for the last 5 years, I've been doing things scared, and it's all been working out for the most part, and so I'm just going to keep doing it.
Yeah, it's a great reminder, only because like the growth that you've had to people that are starting out, it's like, well, he doesn't get scared. You're like, well, I still take action and do it anyway. So that's beautiful. I want to give the listeners now some, maybe the things that are underrated when it comes to the best tips that's not been talked about to really optimize, your Instagram growth so that they can start seeing results. And I don't want to say quick, because obviously you and I believe there's work in progress.
Yeah.
But what are some of the underrated stuff that we need to know? I need to know.
Yeah, I think,
I've got so many. Yeah,
For
I'll share in a second.
I think there's a few things. Number one, everyone can get so caught up in the latest trend, the latest hack, the latest you got to try this. And there are some of those. And sometimes I will share some of those with my audience, my followers, whatever, because I might say, hey, this is really working right now. And this is really going to be working for the next few months. But I always try to make it clear to people that this is a hack. And by hack, I mean this is only going to work for a short amount of time, right? Versus a strategy. Strategies are things that are more proven. They're going to work for years, if not decades, if not always.
Has it changed, strategy for social media?
I think that there are some nuances to what has changed, but I think step 1, 2, and 3 have not changed. I think there are nuances in step 3. So step 1 is you have to really niche down. You have to know your target audience, empathize with them, and just have a crystal clear idea of the who and the what. Who am I trying to attract, and what am I trying to do for them? What am I trying to provide or help them with? Who and the what. And that's step 1. A lot of people jump right into posting before they really have a clear idea of that. Step 2 is relatively simple. It's just optimizing your profile, right? Making sure that it looks right. It's the equivalent of like if you had a storefront, a physical business, you would want the windows to look nice. You would want the sign to have all the letters lit up and not have any of the lights go out. You would want to have, a cash register in the back and all of those things set up properly. And just there are social media equivalents to that minor things. They're not going to make a huge difference, but you just want to make sure everything is set up correctly. Yeah. And then the third thing is posting. Now, in terms of how much you should post, when you should post, what you should post, those things might slightly change. Yeah. And that's where you can get more nuanced with strategy and like best practices. But generally speaking, at least on Instagram, the more you post, the more you grow. There's a direct correlation between post frequency and growth rate. But what I always tell people is just because that is a fact, that doesn't mean that you need to post 14 times a day or even once a day.
What would be, obviously everyone's different. And I see your consistency and frequency of posting. What's yours at the moment a day?
I think 3 to 4 posts a day on my feed.
Yeah, I've done
so
that
once
before.
every couple hours.
And what do you recommend for those who have noticed like one isn't doing enough? I always say find your sweet spot, but again,
find your sweet spot, find what is sustainable for you, and then challenge yourself to do a little bit more on top of that. So if you're like, hey, I can consistently sustain 3 a week, great, stick with that.
That's good.
But then challenge yourself to do a 4th. And when I say challenge yourself, I'm not talking about hustle culture where I would tell you to work harder, work smarter, find systems, outsource, delegate, come up with a low effort post that's not going to take you 3 hours to create so that you can push yourself a little bit outside of your comfort zone. And then eventually that will become comfortable. And now you're at 4 a week, and then we challenge ourselves to do 5 a week. But if that quality isn't there, if the quality is diminishing or declining as you're increasing the frequency, that's never going to work. That's just it's not going to be sustainable. People aren't going to engage with it. And then speaking of sustainability, if someone's listening today and they're like super excited and they start posting once a day, and then 2 weeks from now they burn out for whatever reason, then they're not going to grow either, because 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off is just not going to work.
So and again, this is what I have noticed in my business, we go through our phases of when we're really direct selling. We had a sold out live event for my speaking event, and it did so well, but there was posting every single day twice. Would I do it outside of my selling phase? No, but I have rhythm in posting, once a week, once a day. So do you find that if you are, like, you would be selling all the time, and I am too, but there's direct selling that kind of becomes a little bit more heightened. Do you have a...
Yeah, this is a great nitty gritty question to get into. So every single day, again, I'm posting 3 to 4 feed posts a day, usually multiple stories a day. I'm usually trying to do at least one thing per day, at minimum one thing every other day, to build my email list and to get people off of Instagram. So I'm rarely selling with a dollar sign on my feed. It's usually free products, guides, downloads, YouTube videos, things that keep people in the funnel or move them further along in the funnel, but they're not trying to close the sale right on Instagram. except for when there's a big launch. So a few weeks ago, we had a big sale going on. Black Friday every year, we'll do a big sale for that. And when those are happening, what I've been telling people recently is spam the hell out of your feed.
Yeah.
Like, post about it until you reach your sales goals. It was actually cute this morning. I got a text message from one of my college buddies who is starting his own little coaching business for like football coaching.
What's his name?
His name is Miles. And
Hi, Miles.
And he texted me. He's like, "Hey, I made this reel. What do you think? Should I post it?" And it was like his official reel saying, "I'm doing quarterback coaching."
Love it.
And I was like, "That's great, buddy. Post it." But what I'm going to tell him after he posts it is you need to keep posting that over and over. Like, one single post is not going to do anything. Like, sure, you might get a couple people who are like, "Oh, cool," and they message you. But people need to hear a message over and over and over again for it to really stick.
Do you know what the number is now? Like, it's. I heard it was like 21 times.
It's like 20 plus times is what they need to hear. And so if you think about that people need to see an advertisement 20 times before it sticks and they purchase, and you're posting 3 times to your feed, it's no wonder you're not getting results. So literally spam your feed. And the cool thing about the way the algorithms work, everyone hates the algorithms. The really cool thing about them is they will not show your posts to people who are not interested.
Yeah.
So if you post 20 times and one of your followers just isn't interested, they don't want to see any more posts, it won't spam them.
That's
it won't
good.
show up in their feed over and over again.
Yeah.
Because as soon as they signal once to the algorithm, "I'm not interested," it won't show them the rest. But if someone reads the first post and they're a little interested, they're a little curious, but maybe they don't purchase, the algorithm knows that and it can pick up on that and show them the second, which is going to move them closer to purchasing.
It makes sense that why you speak about quantity is so important, everyone. And I used to say, and I'm going to talk a little bit of truth before I go into a little bit of, someone you interviewed recently. I believe when I first started, I did the wrong thing with social media and Instagram, and I feel I got shadow banned. So I don't know if there's anything there that you want to lay it out on the table, but I think I've worked through it because a lot of my content at the start was fitness days, and I'm going to be completely transparent with you. I didn't know my niche. I was just posting for the sake of it. Fitness content obviously did well, but not to the level I'm at now with the speaking direction and helping people speak, right? Anyway, so a lot of my followers became males, and I had bought followers at the start. Does that fuck me up in the future? It's taken me a very long time to work on my business, and we've obviously grown a lot. But for the listeners, I'm just dropping some truth bombs.
Yeah.
And obviously, you're...
Yeah, well, I appreciate the honesty and
you're
transparency.
Like, oh my God, I need to leave.
No, I appreciate the honesty and transparency. See you later.
12 years ago, I'm sorry.
No, so I think that basically what happened is there were 2 negative things that held back your account that happened early on. And neither one of them I would define as shadow banning.
Yeah.
Shadow banning, per my definition, requires 2 things. The banning part is you're getting less views, your posts aren't going out to new people, they're not reaching the number of eyes that they theoretically should. But the key part is the shadow. So it's Instagram doing that to you intentionally without you knowing it. And that is something that they say they do not do, except for in rare extreme cases where it's, like a terrorist is posting on Instagram and it would be very bad if they told the terrorist that they're, that's a different conversation.
Really great example.
Yeah. But like literally, I asked Adam about this. Adam was there, the head of Instagram. I had a conversation with him and I asked him, about shadow banning. And some people believe that he's gaslighting us when he says this. From everything that I have been able to see in studying, that's not necessarily I don't think he's shadow banning us. And now people are going to accuse me of shadow ban or of gaslighting them as well. But I don't believe that shadow banning is a thing. What I think happened to you is, like I said, 2 bad things happened. One, you bought followers. It's not like Instagram is like, oh, she bought followers, we're going to punish her, right? We're going to put her in jail. It's that when you buy followers, those people will never engage.
Yeah.
Those people will never become customers, right? I have said that followers you buy will never buy from you. They're just fake robots to boost up how many followers you have, and it makes you look cooler and makes people want to follow, right?
Oh, it was definitely an ego thing at the time.
Oh, for sure. For sure. And it used to be super, super popular.
Yeah.
So, 10 plus years ago, way more common than it is today. Now there's enough conversations about it that it's not as commonly done, or at least not as commonly done from people who think it's a good thing, right? It's being done now by people who know it's not a good thing.
Yeah.
So that's the one hand. and they're not going to engage. So it really hurts your engagement rate. You know, you have, let's say, 1,000 fake followers. None of those fake robots are going to like or comment or share your post. But the algorithm doesn't know that they're fake robots, and so it still serves those fake robots up with your posts. Those fake robots don't engage, and now the algorithm's like, oh, this post must be really bad. Let's show it to less people, right? So that's the one bad thing. The other bad thing is you got a relatively large chunk of your following who was not an ideal follower. Right? They weren't your target niche. They weren't, or, you know, they're definitely not now in your target audience, target market, target customer. And so they only want one thing from you. And this is why I often tell people that in your feed, you have to first know your niche. That's why I said that was step one. I didn't just randomly pick what step one would be. I put that in an order for a reason. So that's why we start with niche. But if you post something that's outside of your niche, I see this happening all the time with like...
Can you give an example?
Yeah, I see it all happening all the time with like parents, moms. Their kid did something really cute, really funny. And so they take a little video and they post it on their feed. And then it goes viral. And then now they have hundreds of other moms following them who want more videos of cute kids. Or they post like the beach bikini selfie, right? And they're like, oh, I look good. I'm thinking I'm sweet today, whatever. And they post that, and that goes viral. But now you're getting a bunch of creepy men following you who want more bikini pictures. They don't want what you actually can provide in your business. That's what can happen. Sometimes is you go viral, you get a bunch of followers in the wrong reason. The other thing that can happen is just it doesn't perform well. Like for myself, once every winter, I will post a video or photos of myself snowboarding because that's what I do. That's who I am. I do it all day long. It's okay, you know, 1% of the time to dribble those things into your feed.
Great.
It's okay, you know, if there's like a big anniversary. You know, I'm not going to tell you to not
you got
acknowledge
married,
your
you're like,
partner.
Sorry.
Exactly. Like, and I'll tell a story about anniversaries in just a second. But every year I will post a video of myself snowboarding just because it's fun. And I like to, you know, sometimes you got to stroke your ego a little bit.
Of course.
And so I'll do that. But I know when I do that, it does so bad. Like it's performed so poorly because my followers like, we don't care. We don't follow you for snowboarding, Brock. We follow you for Instagram tips. The story I wanted to tell about anniversaries is last year on my anniversary, I made a really funny meme about my anniversary, and I posted some photos of myself and my wife. And that post was my 5th best non-reel from last year. So of all my carousels and photos, it was in the top 5. Right. And so with dozens of posts, hundreds of posts a month, it was really an outlier. It performed really well. But that was my number one post in terms of unfollows. My number one post because it did really well. And everyone's like, "Oh, happy anniversary!" Like it. They comment, "Congratulations, you two! Happy anniversary!"
All the people watching.
So it's good engagement. Right. People like it. So then it boosts it out to more people. But then it reaches outside of my core audience. It reaches outside of the people who are just super fans, who know my wife's name, who know our relationship, and they say happy anniversary. And it reaches the people who are kind of on my fringe, right? They followed me. They engage with a post every once in a while, every few months, but they don't see me that often, right? They're kind of a fringe follower, and we all have those fringe followers. So then the post reaches them, and they're like, who is this? Oh, this is the Instagram guy. I haven't really seen any of his posts in a few months. Unfollow.
Oh, no.
I'm not really interested in Instagram growth anymore. I'm not running my business anymore. Unfollow. Oh, why is this guy posting about his wife? Unfollow. And so you reach those people, and I would say to a certain extent, it's okay to let those people unfollow you, right? Like rarely is someone about to swipe their credit card and then they actually unfollow. That rarely happens. It's usually they're on the fringe, on their way out already.
They're warm.
But yeah, exactly. But with all that being said, that's why I tell people, try your best to not post outside of your niche. Try your best to keep all of your posts relating to your niche because you run the risk of just losing people who would be the right people or bringing in people who would be the wrong people.
It's great for me to know because we teach branding as well. And I think a lot of the stuff I say, it's like stop making it about yourself. It has to relate in your brand values that are going to attract the right niche that are also in alignment to the values that you have. Like if you're going to post a holiday with your partner who you work with, make the copy relatable to your growth and business and success and struggles and whatnot. So I think that's, again, a huge thing that you brought up. I want to know, how was it? And please feel free to share the preparation, behind the scenes, the stuff that no one's known about when it came to interviewing the CEO of Instagram, and I'm hoping I'm going to pronounce his name right, Adam Missouri.
Yeah, and I don't know if you pronounce that right because I always say his last name. I say his last name different almost every time, and I try to say it really fast to gloss over it. And like literally on the day that I was going to interview him, I was like watching podcasts and listening to like him say his own name and like trying to practice it, and it just will not stick. So Adam,
We'll go with Adam.
Yeah. The story of how that happened was I literally had a dream where I like shadowed him for a day and followed him around his office and just asked him a bunch of questions. That next day, I woke up and I posted about it on Threads, the Meta's version of Twitter.
Yeah.
I posted about it on Threads, kind of just said, here's the dream, here's what I had. Didn't think much of it. Went about my day, went for a hike, whatever. And then I checked my phone a few hours later. I rarely go on Threads, but I checked Threads that evening, and he had replied. And he had said, what do you want to know? And I was like, oh, wow, I'm taking advantage of this opportunity.
Good.
So I replied, and I said, I have quite a few questions. Let's do a sit-down interview. And then I think he replied to that and said, let's see if we can work something out, something like that. And then that next morning, I received an email from his assistant saying, we saw your conversation on Threads. Adam said that he wants to have a conversation. Let's set it up. And so this was back in, I think, October of this past year. And then it took 5 or 6 months of planning, not necessarily 5 or 6 months of writing questions and researching, but just 5 or 6 months to get a date on his schedule, right?
Yeah.
He's a busy guy. Being the head of Instagram, I've heard him say that he'll have a meeting with 5 creators in the morning, and then he'll go to lunch with the development team and talk about software.
Wow.
And then he'll meet with a major politician to talk about data, and then like all these crazy things. Then he'll have to go to an event in the evening.
Were you nervous?
Busy guy. That was the most nervous I've been in quite a while. I can't remember being that nervous. Probably some point. The last time I felt that many butterflies was like my wedding day. I wasn't nervous to get married, but just wedding day jitters, and then maybe like a big college football game was the only other times that I had felt that level. But not to go off on a tangent too much, but my uncle told me one time, he was a professional football player. He played quarterback in the NFL, and he said, that feeling lets you know you're alive. Like those butterflies, that nervous anxiety in your tummy, that lets you know that you're living. Like that is the most alive you'll ever be, is when you're feeling that. And so him saying that has always stuck with me. And so I reframe whenever I am feeling that nervous anxiety. I just think about that and I'm like, yeah, I'm alive right now. I'm living. And so it was very nerve-wracking. I spent the week or 2 leading up to our conversation re-listening to every podcast he's done. We have a member on our team who one of her roles is to, every single week on Friday, he does Ask Me Anything Fridays, where he just answers questions from the community. Yeah. And one of her roles is to screen record and transcribe all of those. Smart. So I went through and I like read through everything he's ever said. I really leaned on my audience to say, like, what do you guys want to know? What do you want me to ask him? And then, we had the conversation. It was really great. It was hard to eat beforehand. But
I'd be like adrenaline, like having coffee because you don't want to have your lip go like this. And,
I had like coffee for breakfast, so no actual food. And then like an hour before I got there, I had like a salad that I ate like half of. So I maybe had 300 calories and 300 milligrams of caffeine in my system. It was wonderful though. He's a really, really genuine guy.
So cool.
Speaking of snowboarding, he's a snowboarder, and I found that out that morning.
Smart.
And so we just talked about snowboarding for 30 minutes straight, and then I had a thought in my mind of like, oh, I only have an hour and a half with him. Like, I better get to this interview. Like, we better press record and get going, because I could just sit here and talk to him about snowboarding the whole day. I was like, I stopped our convo and we went into the whole Instagram thing, but he was so genuine. And then after the conversation, he stuck around and he talked to my wife and we just chatted the whole time. And he was like, here, look at this. And he's handing me his phone. And like, he's like, these are some of the changes we're working on. And so I got to see some of the things they're planning. And I got to see, this was before they had released Edits, the editing app that they created. And so he let me kind of demo that and test it. And he told me what their plans are for the next few months and years. Some of those things I wish he had said on the record so that I could have told everyone else and put them in the podcast. But it was all things that just really showed me that he cares. And he's a genuine guy. He's a dad. He's not, I've never met Zuckerberg, but Zuckerberg kind of seems like a robot sometimes.
Yeah.
But Adam was just a guy. He's a guy who worked his way up the company, and he's trying his best to run the company the best he can. And he was super genuine. And so that's why when people are, call him out, call him a gaslighter, call him all these things.
You're like, no.
A part of me is like, no, I've met him, and unless he's just that good that for 3 hours we could hang out, and he's just that good at fooling me, he seemed really genuine and real. So it was really an awesome conversation, and I felt so privileged to get to represent all of us business owners and creators in that convo.
Honestly, it's great to hear that he's a good person.
Yeah.
The fact that you got nervous, but I think it's great to hear that. And I think this is what I want to kind of emphasize before we do rapid fire questions. It's the connection behind what we get to give our audience. And someone like him, you would assume, he doesn't have time, but he actually genuinely cares.
Yeah.
And I think that's where I believe business owners, and hearing that from what you do, you can tell you genuinely care.
Thank
and
you.
You're so good at what you do. And we feel that, and we just want to be a part of that. And you want, I guess I think part of, Instagram, if we focus so much on just going viral, the algorithm going beyond the trends, it's like, actually, if you give a fuck, sorry for swearing, for what you do and genuinely want to connect with the audience, I believe people will grow more because it's more than just making money.
Yeah. There's this book, I don't know if it's the trust formula or the trust equation, but it outlines the trust formula, the trust equation. And there's all these different variables that increase your level of trust that your audience can have in you. And trust is the ultimate determining factor for making a sale, for getting a customer, getting a follower. But in the formula, there's one thing, one factor, one variable in the denominator. And it's what they call self-orientation. And it's basically, what's in it for you? What's your why? Like, what's your message? What's your purpose? And I am not smart enough to know scientifically why this is the case, how this happens, but just humans know. Like, when we see someone in our feed, we know if they're bullshitting us, or if they're a real, genuine, honest human, if they're really trying to help us and serve us, or if they're just all about the transaction. They're just all about the sale. And while that might work for a single viral post, why that might work for a month or two, like, it always comes to light. And like the true intentions, those are always going to come through. And I think it's really tough to build a sustainable brand or business if your heart is not in the right place.
Thank you for saying that. And again, I hope this really brings forward for the listeners. And before we go into the rapid fire questions, I want to know, what is your take on the embodiment when it comes to saying it with your chest? What do you feel you do every single day that embodies this incredible podcast?
Yeah. I think saying it with your chest is something that I need to do more of, and that we all need to do more of, because when we water ourselves down to try to appeal to everyone, when we don't say it with our chest, when we say it with that quiet little meek voice, when we don't say it confidently, what we truly believe, we're not being authentic to ourselves. We're not being real. We're not being honest. We're not being genuine. We're denying ourselves that reality in order to try to appeal to what we assume other people expect of us. Like, think about how crazy that is. We're trying to appeal to other people who we've never met in a way that we think that they would like, and we really hope, but like, you're never going to make everyone happy. And so I think that, sure, this is life. Sure, this is like human beings, but this is also an Instagram strategy, which is, the more you can say it with your chest, the more that you can be honest and be real and say the things that you truly believe, the more you allow your target audience to self-select and to fall in love with you and to move from the place of follower into superfan. There's a great book by Pat Flynn called Superfans about this very topic. And the superfans are what we all want. The superfans are the ones who, they're buying your thing before they even read the checkout page. They're signing up. They're following you as you pivot from one niche to the other because they just love you. They align with your values, your beliefs. They've listened to your podcast for years. They've followed you and they really know where you stand. But in order for people to follow you, they have to know where you stand. And if you're just kind of vague, wishy-washy, I don't want to make anyone angry, well, then you're also not going to make anyone that happy. Right? In order for people to fall in love with you, there are going to have to be some people online who despise you, who hate you, right? And And it's oftentimes the more polarizing the individual is. I want anyone listening to think about like whoever you can think of right now in your head is the most polarizing person on the planet, right? Think about, or any one of them, right? We all have someone in our head right now. That person also has people who are madly in love with them.
Yeah.
Right? And so I'm not saying you have to go to that end of the spectrum, but just recognize that it is a spectrum. And the more, I don't want to say polarizing, but the more you can say it with your chest, the more you're going to have people who truly love you and people who shouldn't be in your circle are out of your circle anyways.
Oh, fuck, that was amazing.
Good, thank you.
And you being the first guest for the rebrand, that I honestly am really grateful that you came all the way here. We made time.
We made it happen.
We made it happen, and I apologize that the Vegemite wasn't your thing. Now, before we wrap this up, I've got some rapid fire questions.
Let's do it.
I feel like you could do it in 60 seconds. My
Let's do
partner
it.
was like, oh, let's see. All
We'll
right.
see. I'll be fast.
Oh, I believe in you. So, first question is, if Instagram disappeared tomorrow, what's the first thing you'd do to keep your audience and income alive?
I wouldn't stress because we already have an email list. I'd send an email out to my email list and we'd pivot to somewhere else.
I love that. Okay, 2, do hashtags actually work for growth?
No.
Oh, that was easy. Why?
They're just not a reliable, sustainable strategy. So the long answer is the algorithms are smart enough. They don't need hashtags. Adam has said this numerous times. I've been trying to say it for years. Hashtags, they're not reliable. They're not worth it.
Love it. Number 3, number 1 tip you would give to a new account to assist with growth organically?
Identify your niche and then focus on share-worthy content, the kind of content that's going to get sent from one person to another.
Like that CEO who cheated on his.
Like that. Yeah.
Love it. Love it. Okay, is it better to sell on stories or sell on your grid? What's the best strategy?
I think the both can be very successful.
Yeah.
I like selling on my stories because I think that's where people really trust me the most. But I also recognize that that's not going to get as many views. Stories will not get as many views as my feed reels will. So pros and cons there.
Pros
but
and
I like
cons.
stories.
What's one thing about you people would be shocked to know?
I don't have everything planned out and figured out. Like, I'm a very spontaneous, figured out. Like, I'm very type B. I'm very much like, I don't have a 5-year plan. I don't have a big vision for strategy for the next 3 months. Like,
That's awesome.
I'm really rolling with the punches.
I love that.
Yeah.
So winging it, but not with, well, not really winging it. You're pretty, you know what's going on every single day.
I know what's going on. I know what's going on every single day, but I try to be really present in the day to be prepared for the day and what it brings me that day rather than constantly ideating on the future of my business in the next 5 years.
Oh, you'd love my partner. Last question. What's the one statement you wish more people dared to say out loud to themselves or to the world?
I have a message that is worthy of being shared.
Boom. I love that. Brock Johnson on Say It With Your Chest. It's been an absolute pleasure to having you here.
Thank you so much.
And everyone else, please make sure you guys follow Brock Johnson right now. Get on top of his content calendar. I've been part of it. I haven't started. I'm going to be completely honest. But if you haven't already, please follow this amazing human. Thank you so much for being here in Australia.
Thank you.
And having Vegemite with me.
Of
For
course.
everyone else, I'm your host, Tamara Meyer. This is Say It With Your Chest, and I will see you guys next week. I remember the first time I spoke on stage. My heart was racing, palms sweaty, voice was shaking. I was terrified. Not because I didn't know what to say, but because deep down I was afraid of being seen. I was afraid of my own power. But here's the truth no one tells you. Speaking isn't about perfection. It's about connection. When you step onto stage, whether it's a room of 10 or 10,000 people aren't just listening to your word. They're feeling your energy. They're watching to see, does this person believe in what they're saying? Does this person believe in themselves? The power to command a room comes from owning your story, not performing a script. That's what amplifies your voice, and that's what creates impact. I spent years shrinking myself, dimming my light, thinking I had to sound like everyone else to be taken seriously. The moment I let go of the performance and I chose to lead with my truth, my voice changed, my business changed, my life changed, and that's what I want for you. Because when you learn to speak with authority, to lead with conviction, to show up as the fullest, boldest version of you, you don't just inform, you transform. Own your message and create the kind of presence that moves people into action, because your voice is your greatest asset. It's time to use it. So if you're ready to stop shrinking, if you're ready to step into the leader you were born to be, join me at Show Up and Speak Live. The mic is waiting, the world is waiting, and so am I.